right, so we're back for another deep dive, and this time we are tackling How to Get Rich by Felix Dennis.
Ooh.
Now, I know you are interested in wealth creation, so I think you're really going to like this one.
Yeah, this is going to be good.
Yeah, and we're going straight to the source.
Straight to the source.
A media mogul who built a $500 million empire,
Huge.
and he is not afraid to tell it like it is. So
Right to the point.
we're going to see if his advice holds up, but more importantly, if it sparks any ideas for you.
Yeah, I think a lot of people listening will find that Dennis's approach is so interesting because he cuts right to the chase. He doesn't sugarcoat the realities of wealth building.
Yeah.
He flat out says that getting rich is a deliberate pursuit, not some whimsical accident.
It's refreshing, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
He throws out those common myths right away.
Yeah.
Forget the lottery, the inheritance, the overnight success stories.
Yeah.
Dennis argues that real wealth comes from focused effort.
Definitely, yeah.
And for a learner like you, who values practical action, he really hammers on execution.
Yeah, he does.
He constantly reminds us that it's not about the idea.
Yeah.
It's about what you do with it.
Right.
Absolutely.
He even goes so far as to say, those with great ideas,
Yeah.
but no follow-through,
Right.
might as well not even bother.
Yeah.
But there's another side to Dennis's honesty
Oh, yeah.
that might make you pause.
Yeah.
He's upfront about the fact that money doesn't equal happiness.
Yeah.
In fact, he warns that the pursuit of wealth can come with real sacrifices.
Oh, yeah.
He even uses some, let's say, colorful analogies
Oh, for sure.
to drive that point home.
Yes, that's Dennis.
Yeah.
Always straight to the point.
No filter.
But that's what makes his perspective so valuable.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's not selling a dream.
Nope.
He's presenting a reality check.
It's a reality check.
And this is where it gets really interesting. For someone who is genuinely interested in understanding the dynamics of success,
Yes.
he tackles the fear of failure head on.
Yes, he does.
He doesn't just say, don't be afraid.
Right.
He digs deeper into why we fear failure
Yeah.
and how that fear can actually be a roadblock to achieving our goals.
That's a big one, right?
Yeah, so...
I think this resonates with a lot of people.
Oh, for sure.
It's that fear of judgment, of not measuring up, that often holds us back. Dennis has this great line, if you care what the neighbors think, you will never get rich.
Oh, I love that.
It's a bit provocative, but it makes you think, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
What are the fears that are holding you back?
Exactly. Dennis would say you need to identify those fears.
Right.
And figure out how to harness them. Maybe even use them as fuel for your ambition.
That's the thing.
So for someone like you,
Yeah.
who is driven to learn and grow, this is a really important point to consider.
It is.
Are you letting fear dictate your decisions, or are you willing to push past it?
Now, moving on to the practical side of things, let's talk about Dennis's search process.
Wow.
This is where he gets into the nitty-gritty of finding your path to wealth.
Yeah.
And it's not about finding the perfect job or climbing the corporate ladder.
Wow.
It's about something much more fundamental.
Okay, so what is it?
Dennis argues that your focus shouldn't be on finding the perfect career, but rather a money-making opportunity.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and this is important.
Yeah.
He's not prescribing a specific path.
Right.
He's urging you to discover your own.
I like that.
Yeah.
So figure out what works for you.
Exactly, and that ties into his whole point.
Okay.
About ignoring what's glamorous or trendy
Yeah.
and focusing on what actually generates wealth.
Right.
Think about industries that were once seen as, well, a little boring.
Okay, like what?
Like waste management,
Oh, yeah.
logistics,
Yeah.
even plumbing.
Yeah.
Those have all become incredibly profitable sectors.
Somehow.
Yeah.
It's all about spotting the potential where others don't. Right.
Exactly.
And I think this is where Dennis's unconventional wisdom really shines. He encourages you to think differently, to challenge assumptions about what it means to be successful.
Right.
But, and this is where things get interesting,
Okay.
he's also a bit of a lone wolf.
Okay.
He's skeptical of this whole team spirit mentality.
Interesting.
That's so prevalent in business today.
That's a bit of a controversial stance.
It is.
Especially in a world that emphasizes collaboration and teamwork.
Right.
What are your thoughts on that?
That's a good question.
Do you think it's possible to achieve great things in business without collaboration?
Well, it's definitely a question worth pondering.
Yeah.
Dennis believes in individual drive, in taking ownership of your success.
Right.
Now, whether that's feasible
Yeah.
or even desirable, in today's business landscape is another question. But I think it's important to understand where he's coming from.
Yeah.
And why he places such a strong emphasis on self-reliance.
Right. And that's something we're going to explore further in this deep dive.
Yeah, for sure.
Dennis is actually really practical when it comes to getting started.
Okay.
He lays out 6 ways to obtain capital. And for most people, you know, it boils down to borrowing.
Right.
And he uses this really clever analogy.
I love his analogy.
Yeah, they're so good.
Yeah.
Sharks, dolphins, and fishes.
Okay.
To explain the different types of lenders you might encounter.
Okay, that's a good one.
Yeah.
So remind us about the sharks, the dolphins, and the fishes.
Okay.
Who should we be swimming with?
Yeah, well, you definitely want to stay away from the sharks.
Okay.
They're the predatory lenders.
Oh, okay.
The ones who are looking to, you know, take a big bite out of your profits.
Yeah.
Maybe even your business.
Oh, wow.
And they often prey on desperation and lack of experience. So those are the ones you want to watch out for.
Okay.
Then there are the dolphins.
Okay, dolphins are better.
Dolphins are much better.
Okay.
These are the more sophisticated investors.
Okay.
You know, venture capitalists, private equity firms.
Right.
They're looking for a good return, but they're also willing to invest in your growth and offer guidance.
Okay, so they're looking for a partnership.
Yeah, more of a partnership.
Okay.
And lastly, you have the fishes.
Okay.
These are the everyday folks, maybe friends, family, even just acquaintances.
Right.
Who might be willing to lend you a small amount to get started.
Yeah.
So there you have it.
That's a great way to break it down.
Yeah, I think it's really helpful.
Yeah, for sure.
And, you know, Dennis really stresses that you shouldn't be afraid to ask for money.
Okay. Yeah.
He says that a lot of entrepreneurs get stuck in the idea phase.
Right.
Because they're too afraid to go out and seek funding.
Right.
You know, they have that fear of rejection or failure.
Yeah.
But he's like, just go for it. Ask. Exactly.
You never know.
Yeah. And he's all about being persistent.
Okay.
Knocking on doors, making your case.
Mm-hmm.
Until you find someone who believes in your vision as much as you do.
You got to find those people who are on board.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But, and this is a big but,
yeah.
Dennis has very strong opinions about who should ultimately control your business.
This is where he gets really controversial.
Yes, this is it.
Yeah.
He is absolutely adamant about owning 100% of your business.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and he even tells this story.
Oh, I remember this.
Yeah.
About firing employees who asked for shares.
Yes.
Which might seem harsh.
It does.
But it really illustrates his point.
It does.
He believes that maintaining complete control is essential for preserving your vision.
And do you think that is, like, realistic in today's business landscape?
That's a good question.
Yeah, it's certainly a bold stance.
It is.
Especially in today's startup culture, where equity sharing is so common.
Right.
It makes you wonder, though, is absolute control always necessary for success? Could there be alternative models that still lead to wealth creation?
It's definitely a question worth exploring.
Yeah.
There are definitely different schools of thought on this.
Right.
Some people believe that sharing ownership fosters a greater sense of loyalty and commitment from employees.
Right.
Others, like Dennis, believe that it dilutes your vision and can lead to conflicts down the road.
Right, right.
Now let's dive into how Dennis approaches delegation, because this is where he might surprise you.
Oh, okay. How so?
He believes in promoting based on merit.
Okay.
Even if it means your employees end up earning more than you.
Interesting.
Which, on the surface, seems to contradict his strong emphasis on individual achievement.
Right.
But he explains that by finding the best people and empowering them to excel, you're ultimately creating more value for your business.
Okay.
It's like he's saying, find the A players and get out of their way.
That's a good point.
Yeah, so he's not against building a team.
Right.
It's just about doing it strategically.
Yeah, strategically. And maintaining that control.
Exactly.
Okay, so he's fine with them earning more as long as he maintains that control.
Right. But even with this generous approach to rewarding employees, he draws a very clear line when it comes to ownership.
Okay.
He believes in sharing profits, but not equity.
Oh, I see.
He argues that true ownership comes with responsibility and risk.
Okay.
And he's not willing to dilute that.
So, like, in his chapter titled A Piece of the Pie,
he
makes it clear that while he believes in fairly compensating employees for their contributions, He draws a hard line at giving up a piece of the company itself.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
It's a very specific distinction.
It is.
And this approach obviously goes against much of modern management thinking, which often emphasizes shared ownership and collaboration as ways to motivate and retain top talent.
So what do you think about that? Could there be alternative incentive structures that would appeal to both the entrepreneurial drive of the founder and the desire for ownership among employees?
It's a fascinating dilemma, isn't it?
It is.
On the one hand, you have this old school mentality of the founder as the sole owner and visionary.
Right.
And on the other hand, you have this new wave of thinking that embraces shared ownership as a way to foster a sense of collective success.
Yeah, like a team effort.
So what's the right balance?
That's the question.
I think it probably depends on the individual, the industry, the specific circumstances.
Right.
But I think the key takeaway here is that you as an entrepreneur need to be clear about your values and what you're willing to compromise on.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And that applies to everything from how you structure your business to how you manage your team.
It's all connected.
It is. So we've talked about his approach to capital, his views on team building, and that unwavering belief in maintaining control.
Yeah, it's been fascinating.
But, even with all of his focus on wealth creation, there's another thread running through this book that I found really thought-provoking.
You're talking about his emphasis on focus and execution, right?
Yeah, like he's saying, yes, money matters, but you can't get distracted by the shiny objects.
Right. It's like
you need to stay laser-focused on what actually drives revenue and growth.
Yeah, cut through the noise.
Exactly. He's all about cutting through the noise and prioritizing what truly matters.
Absolutely.
And for someone like you who's driven to learn and achieve, this is pure gold.
I agree.
It's about being strategic with your time and energy.
Yeah.
Where's the money flowing in your industry? What are the areas where you can create exceptional value?
Good questions.
And he doesn't just say, do a good job.
Right.
He emphasizes doing an outstanding job.
Yeah, be the best.
His reasoning is that quality attracts talent, increases the value of your asset, and ultimately makes you stand out.
In a crowded market.
Right. It's about going above and beyond, becoming the best.
Yeah, the cream of the crop.
At what you do. He even uses this predator analogy.
Oh, right.
Which might seem a little intense.
Yeah, a little bit.
But it gets his point across. To succeed, you need to be bold, decisive, and relentless in your pursuit of excellence.
So you have to have that drive.
That drive, yeah.
That hunger.
So if you're looking for, like, a concise roadmap,
okay,
Dennis lays out his 8 secrets at the end of the book.
Right, his 8 secrets.
They cover everything from finding your motivation and cutting out negativity to focusing on execution, hiring the best people, and, of course, never giving up control.
It's a pretty powerful distillation of his core philosophy.
It is, but this is where things take a really unexpected turn.
Okay, what's that?
Dennis advocates for giving it all away.
Giving it all away.
Yes, this was the part that really caught me off guard.
I can imagine.
After all this talk about wealth creation and financial success, he basically says, give away the fortune you worked so hard to build.
That is surprising.
It is. It makes you question what it all means, doesn't it?
It is, yeah. Like, why bother?
Right. Is it just about the accumulation of wealth? Or is there a deeper purpose?
I think he's trying to get us to think beyond just the material aspects of success.
Right. What kind of impact do you want to have on the world?
Yeah, it's about legacy.
It's a powerful question, and one that we hope you'll continue to ponder long after you finish this book.
For sure.
Dennis's journey is both inspiring and cautionary.
Yeah, I can see that.
He achieved incredible financial success.
He did.
But he also experienced the downsides of wealth.
Right. That's important to remember.
The isolation, the constant pressure, the temptation to lose sight of what truly matters.
Yeah, and I think that's why he stresses the importance of staying grounded.
Right.
Throughout that whole wealth-building process. Cultivating hobbies, spending time with loved ones, giving back to your community. These are all things that can bring meaning and balance to your life. Yeah. Regardless of your financial status.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into how to get rich, we're left with a lot to consider.
We are.
It's a book that challenges conventional wisdom, pushes you to confront your fears, and ultimately forces you to define what success really means to you.
And remember, this is just one perspective on a very complex topic.
It is.
There's no single right way to build wealth.
Nope.
And what works for one person may not work for another.
Yeah, it's all about finding your own path.
Exactly. The important thing is to learn from different perspectives, experiment, and ultimately find your own path.
We hope this deep dive has sparked some new ideas, challenged some assumptions, and maybe even inspired you to take a leap of faith.
Absolutely.
Until next time, keep learning, keep exploring, and keep diving deep.
We'll see you next time.